name every hood in New York either. I just know I'm never, meaning that they were. For years now, one hood has been hyped up and clickbaited out of Chicago.
No cap.
Can you guess which one it is?
We know
now,
that.
Of course, the area that O Block sits in is and has been dangerous for decades, but we should start by noting that it actually has several other names now. Just calling it O Block has become kind of vague since most of the guys in there didn't even know OD. It's not because they couldn't hang around him or anything. It's just that OD has already been dead for 15 years now, so how could the guys that are 15 and 20 years old know a guy that died when they were a baby?
Right.
The west side of Chicago is much more dangerous
For
than anywhere
sure.
around O Block. Austin is a neighborhood out west that
Austin, cracking, boy. East side, cracking, boy. Inglewood, cracking. Roseland, on phone them. Like, a lot of people get it misconstrued and they think O Block is the most dangerous hood. Don't get me wrong. It's dangerous. It's in a hood. But it ain't cracking like a lot of these other I want y'all to understand, bro. Roseland, nigga. Inglewood, like I'm talking about every single night. It's cracking all day, every day, 24/7. It's busting, cracking. You hear me?
Just more homicides, and East Garfield Park is a much smaller neighborhood than
West
Grand
Side.
Crossing where O Block is, and it has a much higher homicide rate, despite being only half its size. So why do we still have YouTubers clickbaiting this neighborhood? Well, obviously most of these guys are from out of town. You won't see any Chicago YouTubers saying this, but I can't blame them. I can't name every hood in LA. I just know East Los Angeles is very active. I can't name every hood in New York either. I just know I'm never visiting the Bronx. I don't care how good y'all bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches are. I'll just buy one in Queens or something. But while I do like channels like Brandon Buckingham and Tommy G, this needs to stop. I get it. You got to talk about something people maybe have heard about before.
Right.
And I'm not sure if any hood in Chicago will ever become more popular
because
King Von and Chief Keef are by far the most popular people to ever come out of the city. And Lil Durk is from an entirely different neighborhood. But since he's the only famous person from Lemron, aside from Lil Reese, but he doesn't count because he keeps going to jail, nobody probably for a good reason, since it sits in Inglewood, which is very treacherous. Now,
see, now Inglewood, like I was saying, Inglewood is treacherous. Like, don't get me wrong, O Block is like, it's the hood and it's going on, but it's nowhere. It's not like you'll be decent walking past O Block. You know what I'm saying though? Like, you decent. You look left, you look right. It's treacherous. It's the hood. But it ain't looking like you ride through Inglewood, ride through Roseland, nigga. You gonna look left, look right, and it's like you in a third world country. I'm telling you, like, it's one of those. I'm talking about this niggas in everything boarded off. This niggas on every corner. It's 500 niggas outside. You're not making it off this block without getting robbed if nobody knows you. Don't walk down this street. Like, you know what I'm saying? You take your ass on St. Knife and Essex, nigga. 78th and Kingston. 78th and Yates. Boy, the police is on your ass, boy. It's niggas, man.
Back in my day,
niggas don't want. It ain't pretty. And nobody want to go over there.
There was for sure a rule that you just stay away from the 60s, and I'm not talking about the Crips, of which there are none in Chicago. I'm talking about 61st to 69th Street. From 2010 to 2018, this was definitely the deadliest part of the city, and the deadliest part of the South Side for sure. And this is due to the fact that a lot of the South Side is actually just homeowners and entrepreneurs, and it has been stereotyped as being 100% gang infested, but that's not true. There are multi-million-dollar houses on the South Side, like the neighborhood that Roll Bounce in, Beverly, and Hyde Park, where Barack Obama lives. And there's also a medical school over there in that same neighborhood. But during my high school years, O Block was a different place, man. I'm talking about you could be walking across the street at certain times of night, and they were so heavy into the war that was going on that they were shooting through the gate. But
now, and that's another thing. Y'all think O Block is some shit now. When I was in middle school, elementary school, boy, you couldn't come over there and nobody know you.
But
what?
My high
it looked like this all day, boy.
Was a different place, man. I'm talking about you could be walking across the street at certain times of night, and they were so heavy into the war that was going on that they were shooting through the gate. But nowadays, the West Side is where we have guys 15 years old, heavy artillery, letting off 30 shots per second. Little guys that weigh 100 pounds can't even take the garbage out if the bag's too full, but they holding these switches, letting off 30 shots per second. Now again, Grand Crossing, the neighborhood O Block is in, is very dangerous. But you have to understand that most of the people that were involved in the war that made this area so bad are dead.
I want to put y'all on to some of the easiest money you'll ever make in your life. Freecash.com is a website that allows you to literally get paid hundreds of dollars just for playing video games on your phone. All you need is an email and a password. Follow the directions on each of the campaigns and you can earn at least $100. My personal favorite game to play was Sunrise Island, and when I clicked on it, they had a $370 bonus. I got $370 just for playing a video game on my phone. On average, it only takes about 17 minutes for most people to start earning money on Freecash.com. So if you need some free, easy, extra money, go to Freecash.com, click the QR code right here, or go in the description below and start getting that bag. You did?
A war where no truce can be called. This is not the military.
Right.
There's no draft or recruitment. So one day all the main players will be dead. And that's just how it go. Even statistically, Chicago is safer now than it was 10 years ago.
Hell yeah.
When I was in high school, the hood I'm from, despite being miles away from O Block, clicked up with them and 600. Why? Well, it was due to family ties, as many people in my area had family over there or just childhood friendships. Right. However, this friendship got so deadly that 2 or 3 different wars broke out in my neighborhood just because of this. Now, this might be confusing, but bear with me. The main guys in my area were BDK, Black Disciple Killers, but at the same time, they were clicked up with many Black Disciples. Okay, makes no sense. But then, because most of my area was GD, they were at war with the Black Disciples in our area, even though those guys hung in O Block. You follow me? My neighborhood was in a war with guys they should have been clicked up with. I know it's confusing, but this is why people been getting backdoored in Chicago for a long time. You got a group of guys shooting at the same guys that hang with their cousins. So now you gonna get your cousin killed when his friends say, "Hey bro, was that your cousin that just ran through here shooting at us?"
Right.
And all of this is not really happening anymore. So the South Side actually became safer since the rest of the South Side wasn't so confusing. Meanwhile, the guys on the West Side
used to be dancing, bro. The West Side used to be dancers and trappers, and he is 100% right. Nowadays, all these little crazy ass little boys is on the West Side swinging switches, folks. It's Austin is cracking right now, gang. And I ain't lived in the city since 2020, bro. Do your homework. And I'm telling you right now, gang, it's cracking. The West Side used to be, if you met a nigga from out west, he was more of like a dancer or a trapper. It really wasn't no other type of nigga, or like a little player, little nigga. But it really wasn't nobody else. Nobody was gonna really meet from out west. You know, they used to like to have fun. You know what I'm saying? They used to have real fifis on the block. Like, do your homework on fifis on the block. They used to have fifis. Motherfucker outside dancing all night, drunk, high, all that. Meanwhile, on the South Side, we shoot the shit out of each other all day. You feel me? Oh, do your homework. West Side now, they out there, man.
And out of town, there's a huge misconception that gangs in Chicago are fighting over blocks or drug territory.
No.
Like, maybe 25 years ago, but it's definitely not like that today. There's no money or territory involved. But money and territory is ironically what actually made the West Side safer back in the day. In fact, on some blocks out west, you got guys racing each other through the streets just to get to somebody's car to make a sale first. And they weren't trying to kill each other, just kind of friendly competition, if you will. It's easier to not try to kill each other when all y'all are getting money. But then the combination of federal RICOs coming down on the West Side, as well as many other things, led to the guys out west to stop cooperating with each other. And now it's more similar to how the South Side used to be. The only big money operations going on out south are being carried out by older guys, like guys in their 40s and 50s. And you won't hear about them because they're not in war. There's no back and forth killing because these guys are rich. Big Law is a name that came across the news a few years back, only because he got killed by a Mexican cartel. The informant said that Big Law got a shipment of and weapons from the Gulf Cartel, and then he told the cartel that he kind of lost part of the shipment. And as many of you know, the cartel doesn't have a customer support line for lost shipments, so they definitely thought he just stole from them, so they killed him. And shortly after, one of his associates managed to find the lost shipment and return it to the cartel. Smart move. But then shortly after that, the feds took down the whole operation anyway. But that's the extent of drug wars that was going on in Chicago. Not exactly a war at all. Just the cartel feeding high-level players, and the older guys just stand out of the way while the young guys beef over nothing. But anyway, the thing that made O Block gain this title that is still given today on YouTube was that the war they were in was the next block over. Like, I'm sure you guys are aware, but the main war was with guys they could literally see out their back door. But those guys are either in their 30s or dead, and the younger generation over there just doesn't care about any of that because they were toddlers when all of this was happening. They aren't personally involved. The older generation is mostly dead, actually, or out of town. This is something you can clearly see when a hood vlogger goes over there, as most of the guys you see on camera are under 25, meaning that they were not with Von before he got locked up in 2014, and they weren't with Chief Keef before he left in 2012. And Lil Durk is over 30 years old, so he is quite literally close to the age of some of their parents. Also, when you go over there and call it the most dangerous hood in the city, you actually piss off whoever they are actually into it with, and you put a bigger target on their back. So stop it. And I'm not saying go to the west side and interview the kids fighting wars with each other over nothing, because either way, you going around and putting the spotlight on kids with guns that should be getting led in a more positive direction. But now it's too late, because for some people, this is the extent of what they know about Chicago. They don't know about the Bud Billiken Parade or the Riverwalk, the Taste of Chicago, the Gold Coast. All they know about is this dusty ass housing project. No disrespect, because if you're from the South Side, then most of our families come from dusty ass housing projects. It's just that the city tore all of them down, and the only reason this one is still up, I think, is because Michelle Obama was born there. And honestly, this confusing the South Side for being more dangerous than the West Side is common even in Chicago. At least at one point. And that's probably because if you're from Chicago, you know the out west people just have more fun. If you've ever met somebody from the west side of Chicago, you will notice a clear difference with them and people in the rest of the city. Personally, I feel like most people from Chicago are hilarious, but people from the west side just play all day, bro. Here's a video of a man from the west side getting chased by a goat. What's a goat doing in Chicago? I don't know, man. It was on the west side.
So we got Billy Goats in the neighborhood.
That's why like everybody outside, we call it like, for everybody that care, we call it like out west shit. Just some out west shit. You know what I'm saying? Like just some west side shit. That's all.
Nah.
He talking about man.
So out west says, what up? Them
bitches start getting it.
Them bitches going out to be on deals, son. Hey.
And the most dangerous part of the city can vary every couple years because it honestly depends on what's going on. As I said, the shift from the south side to the west side mostly happened because the generation that was doing all of the damage either grew up and got out of the streets and became adults, or they just, died. But as YouTubers, we have got to stop going into O Block, man, and calling it the most dangerous block in the city. You can get 1 million views talking about any other area in Chicago. But I already made a video about how I feel about hood vloggers. So yeah, but I made a Discord. You can find it on my
community. Shout out Trap University, man. He be talking that. She be spitting that crap. Yeah.